In this lesson, we will practice finding the unknown sides of a 30, 60, 90 triangle. We learned about the 45, 45, 90 triangle in previous lessons. The key thing to know about the 30, 60, 90 triangle is the pattern that you should memorize. It's all about the short leg. Looking at the x and the y, you see how the x is across from the 30? That's how you know that this is the short leg. So I'm just going to go ahead and call it short. And the pattern goes like this. We have a short leg and a long leg. The long leg is always the short leg times radical 3. And then the hypotenuse here is always 2 times the short leg. So if I were you, the first thing I would do is just write down these three expressions: short, short radical 3, and 2 short for the hypotenuse. Now, one of these three is going to have a number given. In this case, it's the 6. Maybe I should blow this up. So we're given that 6 is the hypotenuse, so 6 must equal 2 short. So I should be able to, do this in my head. But technically, we are dividing both sides by 2 to find the short leg, and we find that the short leg is 3. Okay, so that's what we just discovered. This 3 that we just found, that's the short leg. Remember that that's this guy over here. That's the short leg. That's what we just found. So that's x. So that tells us that x equals 3. Okay, and then once we have that, we know that the long leg is short radical 3. So if the short leg is 3, then that makes this 3 radical 3, and that's y. And that's how it's done. It's really very simple if you know the pattern. Look at problem number 2. First thing you do is identify the short leg. The short leg is across from the 30. So that means this is the short leg. Okay, this being the long leg will be the short leg times radical 3, and this will be 2 times the short leg. Well, if the short leg is 2 radical 3, then I'm just going to put that where it goes. As soon as I know that short is 2 radical 3, that means there's going to be a 2 radical 3 right here, and there's going to be a 2 radical 3 right here. Okay? So if I do that, then this is going to become 2 radical 3, and there's still another radical 3 right here. Okay, it was short radical 3, but short is 2 radical 3, so that's 2 radical 3 radical 3. If you put that in your calculator, radical 3 times radical 3 is 3. So that's just going to be 2 times 3. So you're going to get 6, whether you can do it in your head or whether you need a calculator. So that tells us that x is 6. Okay, in the same exact way, if I take this 2 radical 3 and I put it right here, then that's going to give me 2 times 2 radical 3. It's 2 times short. Again, short is 2 radical 3, so that's 2 times 2 radical 3. And that's 4 radical 3. So that is y. Okay, so y is 4 radical 3. Okay, let's keep practicing. Okay, number 3. Again, the short leg is always across from the 30. So this must be the short leg up here, so short. And that means this is the long leg, so I'm going to write short radical 3, and this should be 2 short. Alright, because that's how we do the hypotenuse. The only number that we're given is this 9. So that is the one I'm going to work with. So I should be able to find this short right here by dividing both sides by radical 3. So if I divide by radical 3 on both sides, these cancel out, and that should give me the short leg. Alright, so the short leg equals. Now 9 over radical 3, 9 over radical 3. That's 3 radical 3. So that is the short leg, my friends. So I'm going to put that into places. I'm going to put it immediately here because that will give me y is 3 radical 3. But I'm also going to put it right here. Okay, because the hypotenuse is 2 times short, so that's 2 times 3 radical 3, which is 6 radical 3. And that will be x. Okay, so that's number 3. Look at problem number 4. Let's see what we have here. This must be our 30 degrees, which means that this x is the short leg. So that's short. That means this, my friends, must be the long leg, which I will label short radical 3. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And of course the hypotenuse is going to be 2 short. Okay, that's 2 times the short leg. The 15 is the only number that we have, so your eyes should focus on the 15. If I go to solve this to find the short leg, I will have to divide both sides by radical 3, like this. That way these 3 radical 3's will cancel out, and that's going to give me the short leg. Okay, so that tells me that the short leg equals 15 over radical 3, which I can put in my handy dandy calculator. Okay, so that's 15 over radical 3. So that's 5 radical 3. Alright, so that tells me that the short leg is 5 radical 3. Okay, that's good to know. So that tells me this right there. Alright, so that means x is the short leg, so x is 5 radical 3. And it also tells me this, okay, because this is going to be 2 times 5 radical 3, which is 10 radical 3. Alright, 2 times short, and this was the short leg was 5 radical 3, so there you go. Okay, and that's y, so that'll be 10 radical 3. Okay, let's keep practicing. Okay, looking at the 30 degrees, that tells me that this is the short leg over here. So this is short. That means this is short radical 3, and that means this is 2 short. 10 is the only number I've got, so that's what I'm going to start with. I should be able to divide both sides by 2, and that will give me the short leg. Just keep going. So that's going to give me short equals 5. Okay, so that gives me y immediately. So y is 5. And if I plug in 5 right here, oh, you know what? That's not even something they asked me for. So this would be 5 radical 3, but they didn't ask us for that. The other thing they asked us for was this x down here. So yeah, since that's 30 degrees, of course x must be 60. All right, because this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So kabam. Number 6. All right, this is interesting. Let's see what we've got. So this is clearly the short leg. So I'm just going to put short down right here. This is the long leg, so we can call this short radical 3. Whoa. Let's try that again. Short radical 3 should equal this. And this should equal 2 short. The 6 radical 3. This is the only side where I have no variables. So I'm going to start with this. If I want to find that short leg, I can just divide both sides by radical 3 right now. That way both of these radical 3's cancel out, and that tells me that the short leg is equal to 6. Okay, now I can take that 6 and plug it in different places. Okay, I've got short right here, so that's going to give me 2 times 6, so that's 12. So that gives me that y equals 12. But I've also got short right here. Okay, so that tells me that this side is 6. All right, so that means 2x equals 6, which if I divide both sides by 2 is going to tell me that x equals 3. Okay, see how that works? So that, whoa, where did that orange come from? So that tells me that x actually equals 3. Okay, so that's how we find x and y. All right, might have to practice that a couple more times. So x is 3 and y is 12. Okay, so this is a good system that we've got. Just label everything. Okay, so let's see what we've got going on here. A is 4. All right, so A is 4, so I'll just put a big old 4 right here. And we're supposed to find B and C. So this is the short leg. You know, maybe I'll just label all this. So this is the short, this is short times radical 3, and this is 2 short. or 2 times short leg. So since the short leg is 4, that means b will be 4 radical 3. And c will be 2 times 4, which is 8. Alright, so that's pretty straightforward. Okay. Now the next one, we're given that b is 5 radical 3. Okay. So we're given that short radical 3 equals 5 radical 3. Okay, you can probably just automatically see that the short leg must be 5, but some of you will prefer to think of this as a division problem. Okay, and if you do, what's happening is we're dividing both sides by radical 3. Alright, those radical 3's cancel out, and we find out that the short leg equals 5. Okay, and once I know that short equals 5, I can put it there, and of course I know that it's there. Okay, so that tells me that A is 5, and it tells me that C is 2 times 5, which is 10. Alright, you probably did that in 2 seconds, so I did a lot of work that you probably didn't need. But what are you going to do? I'm thorough. Okay, what about this one? C is 8 radical 3. This is where I usually lose a couple people. C is 8 radical 3, so that means 2 short equals 8 radical 3. Okay, just follow the process. Okay, now since I'm given the 8 radical 3, that means I should be able to find short right here. The way I would do that would be to divide both sides by 2 to get short by itself. But if I divide by 2, then that's going to give me short equals 4 radical 3. So boom, just like that, I've got the short leg. Okay, so that's going to give me A directly, because that's 4 radical 3. But then I'm going to get B by putting my 4 radical 3 right here. Now notice that this is one of those where I'm going to have radical 3 twice. I've got the radical 3 that goes here, and then I've got an extra radical 3 that's already there. So this is going to be 4 radical 3, because that's short, and then there's the radical 3 that's already there. So it's 4 radical 3 radical 3. If you were to put that in your calculator, or realize that radical 3 times radical 3 is 3, then that just means we have 4 times 3, so that's 12. Okay, so that is B. So B is going to be 12. Okay, you might want to play that over again. If that seemed confusing to you, lots of kids would find that confusing. You might want to play that little part over again and make sure you really understand what just happened. But moving on. Let's erase all that and kind of start over. Okay, so the last one, we're given that A is 6. Okay, well, this is another easy one. Okay, A is 6, so that means 6 is the short leg. So we can just take that 6 and put it here for B, so this will become 6 radical 3. And we can take that short, 6, and put it right here. This will become just 2 times 6, which of course is 12. Alright, and that's how you do number 7. Alright, number 8. 60 degrees is down here. That means our 30 degrees must be up here. Go ahead and draw this. So this must be our 30 degrees. Okay, be careful. You know, this drawing is definitely not to scale. Because it looks like this altitude I just drew is the shorter leg. But it's not the shorter leg. I mean, it might be shorter on the paper, but that's what I mean when I say the drawing is not to scale. The short side is always across from the 30 degrees. So that means this is the short leg over here, short. Okay, of course this is the hypotenuse, so that's too short. But the tree, the altitude here, is the long leg. See how it's across from the 60? So this is the side that should be short radical 3. This whole deal right here is short radical 3. Okay, we are given the short leg of 20 feet. So we should be able to just plug that right in here, which they probably don't even ask us that, but if they did, you know, that would be 2 times 20, and that would be 40 feet. But over here, if I take this and plug it in, then that's going to give me 20 radical 3, which has a decimal, is approximately 34.6. Now, what were they actually asking us? If the shadow cast by the tree is 20 feet long, so this is our shadow right here, how tall is the tree? So the tree is 20 radical 3 or 34.6 feet. So this is the answer to this particular question. Okay, what else you got for me? Alright, I think I'm going to have to zoom out a bit for this. What is the perimeter of a 30, 60, 90 triangle with hypotenuse 18? Okay, so look, this is what? Number 9. Okay, so number 9, the perimeter of a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Alright, so let's say that this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. They're telling me that the hypotenuse is 18. So there's 18. And we're supposed to find the perimeter of this thing. So I'm saying that this is my 30 degrees and this is my 60. Of course, we know that the perimeter is the sum of all the sides. So we need to find the other sides. So just doing the same thing we've done over and over again today. This is the short leg. This will equal 2 times the short leg. And this is going to equal the short leg times radical 3. We're only given one number, 18. So I'm going to work with that. So working with the 18 here, I could divide both sides by 2. Okay, and that's going to give me that the short leg is equal to 9. Alright, so once I know the short leg is 9, okay, that means this is 9, and that means this is 9 radical 3. Okay, so just focus on this for a second. So the 3 sides are, we had the 18 that we were given in the first place, the hypotenuse, we have the short leg is 9, and we have the long leg is 9 radical 3. These are the three sides. That's going to form the perimeter. Okay, so it's 9, so it's 18 plus 9 plus 9 radical 3. So the perimeter would equal 18 plus 9 plus 9 radical 3. Can you guess what this is going to say? We're just really going to add the 18 and the 9, so that's going to be 27. So I expect it to say 27 plus, and then the 9 radical 3 should still be there. Okay, well, your calculator writes this backwards, but 27 plus 9 radical 3, that's what it is. I would accept it either way, but I like to write it this way. 27 plus 9 radical 3. What is this, centimeters? So you know what, this is sort of a, that's kind of a, I guess it's not really a real world problem. It's not trees or anything. It did say centimeters. Let's make a decimal also. In decimal form, that would be 42.6. Okay, last one. What is the area of an equilateral triangle with sides of length 8 inches? Okay, an equilateral triangle. Let's see if I can get one of those going. All right, here's my equilateral triangle. These sides are all supposed to be 8 inches. 8, 8, and 8. Because this is an equilateral triangle, that means all the angles are 60. So this is 60 and 60, and this would also be 60. But I'm not going to write 60 because the first thing I'm going to do, we're supposed to find the area, so I'm going to need the height anyway. Here's my height. But this height is splitting this triangle into, this angle into 30 degrees and 30 degrees. So there I have two 30, 60, 90 triangles. So I should be able to use my 30, 60, 90 triangle knowledge. Of course, this 8 breaks up. Now that we've split it, this is going to be 4 here, and we'll have 4 here. Okay, so this is the short leg. Okay, so of course the hypotenuse was double the short leg, which we knew, but also the altitude here should be 4 radical 3. So this will be 4 root 3. So now we can find the area of the triangle. So the formula for the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So that's going to be 1/2. The base of the triangle is 8. And the height is 4 radical 3. Okay? So look, you know, if you wanted to do this in your head, you could do it this way. 1/2 of 8 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So this is going to be 16 radical 3. If you were not comfortable with that, you could just type the whole thing into your calculator, but it's easy enough to do in your head, so give it a try. And this would be, we had units of inches. Since we're talking about area is measured in square inches. So I will say 16 radical 3 inches squared. Or of course, if I wanted a decimal, All right, that's 27.7. Square inches. Okay, that is it for this assignment.